So I'm going to begin the recording now. Like I said, nobody was ready for this. So when it hit, the whole state, the whole country really didn't know what to do. And our district is large, ladies and gentlemen, so I would beg your indulgence. We have like 12,000 students in here, and we have incredible diversity. We have a wonderful district, but when this hit us like this, we were just not ready. So the directions that were given to us by the state is we could do online instruction, or we can do enrichment and remediation. And we chose the enrichment and the remediation, which turned out to be every teacher kind of doing their own thing, and their websites were filled with links. And some parents said, I don't know how to access this, I don't know how to access that. It was very, 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 it was very, very confusing. And I know parents complained, teachers complained. So administratively, we got together and said, what can we do? What can we do to make this more organized? So we did meet in grade level teams. We met in K12 teams, 3-6 teams, and 7-12 teams. And we put together as quickly as possible the most organized method of delivering instructions that we possibly can. It's going to include some online work, some new programs. All of my K2 people here should have received emails, texts, phone calls, or something from their child's teacher. You should have full access to Starfall. You should have a username and password to RAsKids. And if you have a computer or a tablet, you should be able to get on to the Imagine Learning. We'll go through all of that. Also, let me state that this is a K2 session, and we will be taking some questions, and I have a website built for you to go to. If you have any questions, you can add your questions at the end of the session, and then the administration will go through those questions and we will get back to you. If you provide a working email address, we'll get back to you within 1 or 2 days. But if the email address bounces or there is no email address attached, it's going to take some time for us to make all the phone calls. So I'll show you that address. And before we get started, if you wouldn't mind, please register at hasdk12.org/Zoom so that we can have an electronic version of who was at this meeting. Okay, that said, what is instruction going to look like from now to the end of the year for our kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade students? And this is a K12 meeting. Our 3-6 is meeting tomorrow. Is that correct, Mr. Uplinger? I think the 3-6 is meeting tomorrow. Is that correct? Okay. Am I coming through? Can you hear me? Thumbs up. Okay. Okay. Anyway, what you will need to do to access what we have for the K2 is to go to the district's website and select your school. I'll choose Hazel Township Early Learning Center. Then go to Teachers and find your child's teacher. I'll go down to Miss Bell because hers is ready. Oh, Mr. Uplinger is muted. It's not good to mute the superintendent.
Oh, that's why I couldn't answer you earlier. I was muted. But yes, tomorrow is 3 to 6.
I apologize for that.
No, it's okay.
Okay, so everybody can see my screen. You go to your child's teacher's school. You click on Teachers, and you find your child's teacher. When you get to your child's teacher, this is what the page will look like. All the K12 teachers will have the same exact template. It'll say weekly online schedule, and we have a series of 8 options for you. These are weekly lessons. The lessons are done weekly. And the team met and we said, what do we want to teach in reading for the next 5 weeks? What do we want to teach in math for the next 5 weeks? This will begin May 4th for K2, and it will be review. Most to all of it will be review. So week 2 really begins the actual new instructions. All right. When we go to the page, the first thing it says, watch the morning routine. You click on watch the morning routine, and what we tried to do is normalize the online instruction to what the child would do in the classroom. So when your child goes into a classroom in a kindergarten, 1st or 2nd grade, what they do in the beginning is they have a morning routine. So we will have a morning routine that you'll watch every day. It will consist of various things. We'll have spelling tests here on the morning routine. And as you go through the morning routine, you'll learn sight words, you'll learn word walls, so on and so forth. But I would ask that the children watch this every day. When they're finished with the morning routine, you can click the window off. Let me say, you don't have to do this all in one sitting. This was not designed to be done all in one sitting. This was the work for the week. So I know there are access problems. I know there are device problems. Some of you have 1 phone and 5 children. So what we did was we tried to make the online component of this as user-friendly as we possibly can, and we wanted to make sure that parents who are using phones and who have limited internet connection have the ability to get the most instruction that we possibly can. So the morning routine and all the lessons are going to be done on YouTube. Any phone that can run data will be able to watch YouTube movies. So we uploaded all the movies in a codec that doesn't take a ton of bandwidth. We did the best that we can, trying to be respectful of phones, and we didn't have it all maximized. Like, we put it in a nice window so that you can see everything, but at least for those of you who only have that limited bandwidth, we tried to be respectful of that as much as possible. All right, after you watch the morning routine, you could do this daily, you can do this once, twice, whenever. You could go to the next thing. Number 2 is watch this week's lesson. And we're saying that the lesson should be completed by May 8th. Click to watch today's reading lesson. It takes you back to a very similar page, and it'll tell you what the standard is or what the skills we're going to be working on. So we're going to be working on week 1, long E sounds with the letters Y and EY, and we're also in reading going to do some sequencing. So you would click the video and watch some of our teachers actually teach you the long E sounds with Y and EY. That's Mrs. Sterenchuk from Arthur Street, and she'll run through the various phonics lessons, and then another teacher will come on and teach sequencing. So parents will know what skill is being taught. When you're finished watching the reading lesson, you can go back, and then there are going to be assignments that are directly tied to the skill that was taught in the reading lesson. So you will have Word documents, there will be PDFs, and for those of you who don't have printers or can't read them, we made online assessments. So this is Miss Bell's site. She actually did a YouTube video for sight words. And here's a sight word fill in the blank quiz, where the children can just go through it. They'll put their name in, they'll answer the questions, And then when they submit it, it will tell them how they did, and the teacher will get a record of how well the children did. So you'll have assessments and assignments based exactly on what was taught in the reading lesson. Then we go to the math lesson. You click on the math lesson, and there'll be another teacher teaching the math lesson. This is Miss Paler. And then the teacher will teach the math lesson. And again, there are quizzes built right in. So here's a double-digit addition quiz. There are some word problems. Miss Bell did a beautiful job with this. She added a number line. So there's plenty for the children to do. The nice thing about this, ladies and gentlemen, the nice thing, if there is an upside to this, you could go and browse other teachers' websites and see what assignments they're giving. So it kind of really opens things up to you. Also, you're going to be seeing videos by teachers throughout the district. Every lesson's week will be taught by a different teacher who videotapes it. So you get to see a different presentation style. So again, you're going to watch the morning routine, you're going to watch the reading lesson, you're going to watch the math lesson, and then you're going to do the assessments. Number 3 is log in to RAsKids and read the book that your teacher assigned to you. If you haven't logged into RAsKids yet and you don't know how, please ask your teacher, because every teacher has a special code. The way you get into RAsKids is through the teacher's username and password. This, if you do nothing, parents, if you can't do anything, if you have limited bandwidth and you say, I have 5 kids and I have 1 phone, what should I do on this? RAsKids. The research has shown that if students are on RAsKids 15 minutes a day, their reading level increases by 1 full year if they stay on here. The teachers know your children. The teachers know your children. So when they go in, when the students go in, I don't know if I have this password correct. I'll guess at it. All right. They'll see a reading room. When you click on the reading room, you could read a number of leveled books. This teacher has books assigned specifically to the children. So you would read the book, answer the questions, and then after you read so many books, so many questions, it'll bring you on to the next level. There are leveled books. All leveled books are up here. There's early reading. There's books in Spanish. So if you want to see all the leveled books, you could click on leveled books and you can see all the different levels. And click on a level and read the book at that level. Your teacher will also have specifically assigned lessons to you. You see this little spaceship looking thing? When your child logs on, first thing you want to do is look for that spaceship, because that'll have their assignments on. The beautiful thing about RAsKids is your teacher knows the children, so they are giving your child books specifically geared to your child's reading level. Again, if you only have limited data, you don't know what to put your child on the Reading A to Z. And that's also an app that works on the phone and it works on a tablet. So you can download that. The 4th thing is the Imagine Learning. This is a little bit more difficult, and I'll be honest with you, unless you have a computer or a tablet, and we've found that Imagine Learning hasn't worked on some tablets. Some tablets work better than others. Phones have a very, very difficult time with Imagine Learning. So, especially on the K2 level, I'm not really sure what it's like on 3.6, but I know we've had a lot of problems with just a phone or just a tablet. So you would click here to log into Imagine Learning. Then you click Log in with LDAP and log in with your child's username and password. You have to click, then you have to log in with LDAP and put your child's username and password. If you don't know it, ask your teacher. Your teacher has all of this. Your teacher has all of this information. The next thing you would want to do is to log on to Starfall. And I think most of you raised your hand. You said you have the Starfall code. Starfall is free for us for the next 4 months. Ask your teacher for a code. It will open up Starfall. This is wonderful. We just said have free reign in Starfall. Go on to Starfall, pick anything, look at it, review, listen to it. And one of the assignments that we said is talk to your parents. Tell them something that you learned. So when you put your children on Starfall, you can say, hey, I know you're supposed to be on Starfall for 15 minutes. Tell me about it. What did you do? What went on? What are some of the things that you did on Starfall? On our weekly assignments, you will click on the music teacher, the art teacher, or the gym teacher's website, and you'll get information about the what's going on in the art, music, and gym class. Number 7 is an optional writing prompt. The teachers may put a writing prompt in here and give your children something to write about, and they could send it back to the teacher. They could take a picture, those of you who are using Class Dojo, but it's real important. I think the most important thing is that you are in touch with your teacher via email so that they know how to talk to you specifically about your child. And then number 8 is click here for extra practice. If after all of that you're still bored and you want some extra practice, we have packets for kindergarten, 1st grade, and 2nd grade. We have art, music, and gym. And we have ESL work. So there's plenty to do on this website, but we're also being realistic about parents and their ability to access this. With that said, if you have very, very limited bandwidth and you have very limited resources to access these sites, we are going to have packets out. The kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade packets will be going out next week. On Wednesday, you can pick up a packet for the 1st week, and then every Wednesday thereafter at any school in the district from 9 to 11. If you want a learning packet from 9 to 11, the only thing we would ask is please tell your teacher you would like a learning packet. Now, with that said, if you have access to the internet, I would ask you not take a learning packet, because everything that's on those learning packets is in here and more, and it's a lot more interactive. If your child is in ESL and receiving ESL instruction, every single K12 teacher has a link to the ESL teacher and the special education teacher's website. So if you have a child in special education or ESL, click on these links. If your child is in special education, you can expect a phone call from the case manager from All Special Education, and they will be in touch with you personally. They'll be in touch with you personally to get you assignments and get you work for your special education child. We want to make sure everybody has access. The nice thing about this site is it is differentiated insofar there's below, on, and above level material. Most of the below, on, and above level material comes from the RAsKids, because the teachers can specifically give instruction on the child's instructional level. So we felt that this is a much better way. To, I have no idea why my screen is making green lines all over the place. We felt that this is a much better way of teaching because it's organized. Do number 1, do number 2, do number 3, do number 4, and you have all week to do it. So it's not like you need to get this done in 1 week. And we did talk about the learning packets that are going to be available at the school, and please make sure that your teacher has your information. If you haven't already done so, can you please register at HASDK12.org/Zoom. I'm going to try to field some questions right now, but it might be difficult because there are 500 people in here. So when I unmute everybody, If we all talk at once, we're not going to be able to get much done. And even in the chat, it's going to be very difficult. So we created a web page, hasdk12.org/questions. Put all your questions in there. If you give me a valid email address, we'll be in touch with you in the next day or so. If we don't have a valid email address, then obviously we'll try to contact you best we can through the phone if we have a phone number that works. Mr. Uplinger, are you still there? Or are you still muted?
I am. No, I'm still here.
So do you have anything that you want to add going on?
Not yet. I'm good right now.
Okay, then I'll unmute. I'm going to be brave and unmute everybody at this time. And we'll try to take questions in an orderly manner. And if we can't, which I assume this might get difficult, please look at that website and submit your questions there. Does anybody have a question that?
Good idea.
That email address.
Okay. I'm going to mute everybody again. And what I would ask is if you have a question, unmute yourself and ask the question. If anybody has a question, go ahead and unmute yourself and ask the question between Mr. Uplinger and myself. Hopefully we can answer it.
I have a question.
Okay.
I'm wondering if I have to come back on tomorrow for 3 to 6 and then come back on for the high school. Are they using different platforms for grade 3 to 6, and are they using different platforms for the high school?
The high school, definitely, they're using Ingenuity. I think the 3 to 6 is going to be pretty much the same, Mr. Uplinger.
Right, that's correct. They're not 3 to 6 is not using Ingenuity, but it'll be fairly similar to what we're using right now for K-2. We are going to record all the sessions, so if you don't have the time to jump back on tomorrow after you do, we'll post all the recordings to our Facebook, to Channel 99, to our webpage, wherever we can get the information out to those of you that are not able to make it tomorrow.
Okay, thank you very much.
I have a question.
Sure.
I missed the whole beginning because I couldn't get in. There was too many people and it said I couldn't enter.
Yeah, we had a 500 member cap on it. Like Mr. Uplinger said, that this will be recorded and we'll have it on our Facebook. Mr. Uplinger, will we put it on our Facebook page? Where are we going to put this?
Yeah,